Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, we give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, rule well, labor in this word and doctrine. So our lesson today is going to just be on the blessings of that are in Deuteronomy 28. Usually, you know, as a basic, as like literally the first thing you learn about the curses, which is in Deuteronomy 28:15 on down. We're going to go through the blessings. If you want to start Deuteronomy 28:1, sure.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. That's right. So, if we, turn to the Lord, all right, in truth and sincerity, and seek him, then we'd be above, all the nations on the earth, because right now we're at the bottom, we're suffering, all right, we're not in trouble as other men, and, he'd bless us and he'd set us on top because, we're supposed to be, we're supposed to be the light of this world to lead and teach these other nations, but we can't it from the bottom,
And this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people, and the word Kodash in Hebrew means to be separate, consecrated. For thou art a holy or separate people unto the Lord thy God. So we're separate in ways, because our laws are separate. The things that we do, our customs, make us unique, so to speak. So clearly there's already some level of not being equal, right? Because it says above the other nations, because they didn't have the laws given to them. So it reads, the Lord thy God said, the Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So if we're above other nations, therefore they have to hearken unto us. We have rulership over them. We command them what to do, with the commandments of the Most High being the foundation.
That's right. Because we're righteous people. These heathens don't know how to maintain or operate, in this world. That's why it's so defiled. Deuteronomy 26 and 19. And to make thee high above all nations which he hath made, in praise and in name and in honour, and that thou mayest be an holy people, being separate, unto the Lord thy power, as he hath spoken. So, yeah.
Verse 2.
Verse 2, Deuteronomy 28, verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee, and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power.
Alright, so now he's going to read the blessings thereof. Keep going.
Verse 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
So but essentially everywhere we go, everywhere amongst the land, everything in our day-to-day life amongst our people in the land that we dwell will just be blessed. Right? Keep going.
Verse 4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle.
Right? See, everything that we have in abundance, all the possession we have should be blessed. Because right now we're eating cattle that's defiled, because the wicked are ruling right now. All right. Just like it says, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the earth is his possession, and the possession of the earth, the cattle, including humans, all right, as his servants are defiled. Okay. Right. We're defiled. Sorry, no, our flesh, is defiled, and we're not. So there's some level of defilement even amongst us. But of course, the scriptures cleanse us in the spirit, so we don't have it defiled. We're not defiled in our ways.
That's right, because the inward man is renewed every day. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And the fruit of that body as well. Because right now, our offspring, they're, taken into foster care or adoption, getting adopted, and you got these purge babies that are just, unruly to their parents. What the law says about, disobedient children.
I'm going to get this piece of it. It's Job 4 and 7. Because remember, I pray thee, whoever perished, being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? So the reason why we, our people are even in the state of being perished, like because he who remains in the where is it?
He that is it Proverbs 21 and 16?
I believe it's 21. I don't think it's 16. We'll see. You might be correct. I'm not saying I know for sure.
That's right. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Right. So if you don't have understanding, if you wander away from understanding, then you're in the congregation of the dead. You're congregating with those that have no life in them.
That's right.
So you are essentially perished already, and you shall be perished in the flesh as a judgment in that day if you don't truly repent. If you know of the Lord's elect, that is, because the Most High has certain of our people just for judgment. Not to be delivered in that time. Some of those will know there is light. Some people will know the truth. But in a time when it's the hour of temptation, they'll fold. And I can get a few, brother, on the. Okay. Add something. I'm just looking at something. I'll just get straight to the point here. This is the. In fact, get it if you want. Psalm 1. And I'll get this in the meantime. Psalm 5 and 12. For thou, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, will bless the righteous. With favor wilt thou compass him as with a shield. Right? Compass him with a shield as for protection. Right? Protect him from other nations, protect him for anything. Protect the amen, protect from false doctrine. From things that are out of the way of understanding.
That's right. It's the book of Psalms chapter 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Verse 2, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night.
Yeah, and meditating goes into thinking and considering the scriptures. In the Deuteronomy 28 is known as the fifth book of the law. And the scriptures make you understand more and more about how to conduct yourself and whatnot. Sometimes your flesh will get in the way, but then the scripture comes in, immediately. Sometimes the thought will come in that's of your flesh because you are in this corrupt body, and the spirit will lead you to the scriptures in your heart, and you know what, I don't have a choice.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 5. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in.
So as a basket in thy store.
Oh yeah.
Go into if you get those words, and actually get those words actually clear. Which verse is that?
Verse 5.
Tana'ah, basket, or literally read basket. Then it goes into store. Masha Araf, which means kneading trough or bowl, right? A kneading trough goes into a thing for like dough and bread and whatnot. So basically our things that we have stored and whatnot, everything we have for our food and our general things for nutrition of the earth, these things are going to be blessed, which they are not right now because the wicked are ruling. Okay, so this is right now is a time where we're suffering the curses. That's why that's the first thing we usually bring out if someone's new. Go Deuteronomy 28:15 on down for the curses. But this is what's coming, man. All this, everything that's going to be in the kingdom is going to be nothing but blessing. There's not going to be cursing and evils upon us anyway. Okay, but when it comes to he's going to be plagued with demons all the time. If we decide you don't get to rest, but 2 days in a row you have to do continuous work, as Apostle Har said, just quoting him, you're going to do it. But then you can do about it. Because that's what's coming to E's way, because he's the wicked of the earth. And our people are followed after him, and our people are doing the wickedness of the earth as well, man. Like, they're taking part in all manner of wickedness. And other nations, they want to join in with the wine, the doctrine of Babylon. And Babylon is indeed America, so they're all following after America, the so-called white man's ways. And they're doing wickedness in the way of their deeds, in the way of their heart. And they're not prepared for the storm to come, in the spirit. They're really just going to show you how wicked they really are in that time, if you didn't already know. Okay, you can keep You go.
What? Deuteronomy 28, verse 6. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Right now, you know, we're always watched. We're always, in a fearful or in a fretful, predicament. Or even if you're at work, you're constantly being watched by your managers or your boss. Okay, if you make a slight mistake, straight away, you get pulled up for that. But if it's a heathen, they'll either get let off or get a less severe punishment. Things of that nature.
Because they have disdain for us, right? Because again, if the enemy are ruling, then those, even if the low levels of the enemy who rules, like the nation who rules, they're gonna look down on us, right? Because we're at the lowest spot, and there's no real, brotherly love with our people either. Some people claim it is, but it's really all about this black be black stuff, woke be woke this, and Africa this, and fucking Egypt that. It's all bullshit the way they talk. If it's not about this, if it's not truly this word, it's not going to bring anything but confusion.
That's right. Our people are about like individualism, and I'm about mines and my money. As long as I'm good, I don't care what happens. That mentality. As long as I'm set, I've got my my decent house, my car, whatnot. That's the mindset the majority of our people are in.
And when you really look into it, we don't have anything really decent. What's really decent? Your clothes aren't decent, your food ain't decent, the air ain't decent, your house ain't that decent. It's very expensive. You get a TV just for many distractions. Even though brothers will talk about certain TV shows or whatever, they'll be like, in the spirit, this will show you this down the third, which is obviously true. But no one's saying that you need that. No one's to deny that inherently that's a distraction. You know, people obsessed with wasting their time with things that don't really benefit them because they're in the congregation of the dead. You know,
Psalm 121, verse 8. Yahweh the Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 7. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways.
So like our enemies, they ain't gonna be able to do anything, man. And in time of judgment, of course, when Yahweh Shai comes back, other nations are gonna be taken in chains. If you Psalm 139, because then they're definitely not gonna do it. They're not gonna even. They're not gonna have a chance to really try to rebel because they're gonna be
succumbed.
Like we're gonna have spiritual bodies, man. We're gonna be changed to be immortal powers. Yahweh Shai is gonna be nothing but truth is gonna flourish. There's nothing that they're not gonna be able to do anything. They're gonna be plagued with demons once again. As I said earlier, which will make them just feel more weak and weaker and weaker, and just more and more afflicted in the flesh and in the spirit. Every time they think about the whole world, they're just gonna it's gonna make them just fucking start getting all aggy because they're gonna want to rule again. Because they want to rule in wickedness. They want to make their heaven, which is really hell. But it's they're the wicked. Right? They want to have a world where they control everyone with the C to the H to the I to the P, by making them all their records be in it, making them a permanent slave to them. That's what they want. That's the world they want. But it's not going to be. It's not going to flourish.
This is Psalm 149, verse 1. Praise ye the Lord, sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints.
You can get to the point. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Verse 9, isn't it?
Just start verse 6.
Verse 6. Let the high praises of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people.
There you go. And that's obviously the scriptures are likened to a sword. We're also going to come with vengeance, as in literal war. We're going to be ready for war in our time for vengeance, man. There you go.
That's right. Verse 8. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron.
Yep. So to bind their nobles, right? If you get that word noble,
That's right. And that's going to your elites and your top banking families.
Yep.
All right, like your Rothschild, your Rockefellers, your DuPont, your Oppenheimers,
yeah,
Gettys.
those are like
Morgans.
the ruler. Those are the kings, really, of Babylon. Because the word king is malach, which means king. But then the word for nobles is the word kabad, which goes into like weight, heavy. This is a verb. This one kabad here, to be heavy. So those that are honored, basically, because honor goes into weight as well, and glory goes into it as well, really. Because kabad goes into glory, it goes into honor, it goes into glory. These words basically go hand in hand. So these people who are honored highly and esteemed as men who rule and whatnot, they're going to be taken in chains, man. They're going to be subject to and when you're taken in chains, you ain't got time to, what are you going to do?
That's right.
Terrestrial, if you're just simply a terrestrial being, what the fuck can you do, man? You're in chains now.
That's right. Chains obviously represent bondage.
Yep.
No freedom. So
Yep, there you go.
That's it. There's nothing they
You're not
can
free
do.
to do wickedness anymore. You're
Exactly.
bound to do exactly what we say. And what we say is what the scriptures say. And Yahweh Shai is the ruler who is the word of the Most High. So he's going to be in the kingdom, ruling over everybody. He's going to be the top ruler. So now what? So what can you really do then? See, that's why the blessings will prosper. There'll be no cursing anymore, because that's when everything's going to be said and done. And the kingdom of the saints should be established forever. Yeah, keep going, bro.
Psalm 149 verse 9, to execute upon them the judgment written.
Right, the judgment that's written, it's written that they're going to go in chains, man. It's written that they're going to be taken in slavery.
With honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh Bashan Yahweh Shai.
There you go. And this honor have all his saints. The saints goes to those that are holy, man. The saints of the Israelites, starting with the elect. By Deuteronomy 28.
I got a quick reset.
Yep.
Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord.
Thank you. I've actually got a precept. My fault.
There's nothing you can do against spiritual bodies, alright? No, I don't care what, spectacular
Weapons.
weapon, yeah, exactly. How many you have?
You're blessed with a sword, but your sword can't work against the spiritual power. It's one realm against another, and you know which realm wins. 1 Samuel 18:7. And the woman answered one another as they played, and said, and played as an instrument. In fact, let's go verse 6. You know what? Verse 5. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely, and Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the woman came out of all cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. So David was the king at that time. Alright, David was, he was not like, who was a mightier warrior than David? David was slain and slain, man. He was a serious warrior. Someone we can't fathom in the flesh today, inherently,
Leaping over walls, There's no general or warrior in history that can surpass him like Dawud,
Yeah, man. The only way you can is by being of the elect with Yahweh Shai and the chariots, because of course King Dawud is going to be there, going to be showing even more power than he did in the flesh.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 8. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee. That's right. So, our abundance will be blessed. Everything that we, put our mind to, put our hearts to, will overcome. And even in a lower state, we still, rise to the top, because we're the salt of the earth.
Yeah. Even though we're going through hell,
That's right.
the fact that we have the understanding of the truth means we have everything. Because nothing else really truly matters, man. Things that we enjoy, things that we need to do, they don't matter anywhere near as much. They're just a part of the game. They're just part of, I don't want to say the game in that way. like it's actually a game, but you know, as a, you know, a typical lingo kind of thing. It's just part of the territory. How about that? Well, let me get the scripture. Let me see if I want this. Oh, there you go. This is Psalm 79. Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just. For the righteous, the Most High trieth the hearts and reins. So the Most High, He's trying us, right? He's putting us through this trial. And if we're the elect, we'll overcome in the end, man. So that alone shows you that we're going to overcome, because we're going to be put through absolute hell, and the world's going to go through absolute hell, you know? People who are not in the truth, they're going to really get it, you know? We're going to go through tribulation. It starts with us as well. It starts with, you want to get that? 1 Peter 4:17? Or you got scriptures? I can get it.
I got Exodus 19:5.
I'll get this quick if you want. This is, sorry, I'll do this. It's okay. First Peter 4, verse 16. No, sorry. Oh, I never know when to start. 15 is good. Yeah, 15. It says, but let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters, which is our people, really. You know, that's what they're suffering. That's what they're allowing in their life. It reads, yet if any man suffer as it says Christian verbatim. But that word, you know, colloquially, we don't like to use that word at all. You know, you know, we don't like to use that word because colloquially it goes into people who follow Christianity, which we don't follow. You know, but what it really goes into is being a follower of the Messiah, because Christ goes back to the Greek word Christos, which means anointed, and the word in Hebrew is Mashayach, which means anointed. And when you're a follower of Yahweh Shai, you know, you are therefore a follower of, you know, well, there you go, I can't just say that you're a follower of the Messiah, right? So if any man suffer as a follower of the Messiah, let him not be ashamed. So there's no shame in this. People will try shame you. People will not just try, people will actually do a very good job of sounding like they make some sense, not to us, but to everyone else in the world. Right? Because, you know, the scripture goes into, you know, they can't, if it were possible, it would deceive the elect. So there you go, it's not possible. It's not possible for them to do anything against the elect, man. So if we're the elect, you know, Lord willing we are, man, there's nothing to worry about. No, there's nothing to really and truly worry about. There's going to be shit that's going to, you know, get to us because it's tribulation. But hey, man, on the road to Zah, we have nothing but strength in that day. You know, everything just becomes strength in our faith. It's our, you know, our prowess in general.
That's right. You know, because the elect was chosen and destined from the foundation of the world. Yep. Even before that.
Right, and there's a reason. But let him glorify the Most High on this behalf. So we're supposed to glorify the Lord on this behalf. And just like the brother's saying, because, you know, if we're the elect, we're chosen from the beginning, so this is part of glory. It's part of glory, not just us, but overall, mostly, not mostly, on top, how do you say it? Furthermost, or something like that, the Most High, Yahweh, because this is all His will, this is all for His namesake. This is for us to just be, to you know, boast ourselves. This is to boast the Most High God. Because everything you see, these trees around us, the sun, the sky, right? You see the glory of the Lord in His creation and what He's capable of, man. And then it reads, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High, and if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? There you go. So it starts with us, so there's going to be a time when we're going to be really tried hardcore. But if it starts with us, imagine those that aren't really, they're going to really go through hell. If we're going to go through some real tribulation, they're going to have to go through some serious tribulation. You want to get your scripture?
Yeah. And that's that fire, you know, to purge out, you know, the iniquity within us, you know, to try us.
Should I get this first? Sorry, I know you're holding it. It's Acts 14:22.
Yeah, sure.
Acts 14:22, confirming the souls of the disciples. Those that are disciples are what? Discipline, right? So it takes real discipline to follow in this truth, in the walk. And, you know, you can't think you're too good for this word. You can't think you're too good to be a person who's ministry. You can't think you're too good to separate from, you know, from the world, basically. Like, you know, or like, even then, that doesn't make sense. If you don't really, if you, like, people just want to be a part of everyone, right? They want to have a bunch of friends. They want to join the crew, join the squad, doing a bunch of bullshit, having some type of status and reputation amongst men. It doesn't mean anything, man. And these men aren't going to protect you, man. The Lord is, man. When shit goes down, these people aren't going to be around for you, man. There's a high likelihood that they're not even going to trust you in that day, because people are going to be killing each other for food. And people who they thought were their friends were going to do that, and they don't trust you anymore. You thought that some guy was your friend, and he fucking tried to fuck fucking kill you for food. And you're gonna look at him and go, well, now I don't even want to be his friend. Now all the time and memories we had don't mean much anymore because they never fucking really did. But anyway, Acts 14:22, confirming the souls of the disciples, right, and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High. There you go, bro.
That's right.
So he's holding you.
That's okay. It's Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak to the children of Israel. You know, and that's, you know, in the kingdom, you know, we're going to be on top. You know, and all the nations are going to have to learn under us. You know, and if they don't, then, you know, no rain in their land. Alright? But first, for 1,000 years, they're going to have to get that, you know, that severe punishment. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 8. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, as in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee. Verse 9. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy power, and walk in his ways.
Right, and as you know, as we read,
That's right.
You read.
And that's, you know, it's clear cut, precise. Verse 10. And all of the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee.
Again, see that everything in the land will be blessed. Everything is going to be good. Everything's going to be all kushti. Psalm 128:1. Blessed is everyone that feareth Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Here you go. In fact, let's keep reading. Thy wife shall be a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house. Didn't it say that, you know, one shall become 1,000?
Oh yeah.
And it said that the Lord shall hasten in his time. Alright, so we're going to be very fruitful, man, which is a beautiful thing to create and have families. Look at people today, they don't even want to do that, man. You know, some people have like the idea to have a vasectomy, like wound their stones and stuff, you know, as opposed to just not having sex, you know, just don't have sex, man, to wounding your stones and whatnot. Some people have the idea, you know, to even do what you know, I don't even know if we can even say it, but to even abort mission, so to speak, you know. This kind of stuff, this type of thing, you know, it's not in our nature, really. This is what I mean. Our natural ways as in men and women have been hindered because of the ideologies of what's known as Western society. Really, it's just the philosophy of E, the red man of Genesis 25, the damn devil, all right, who's set up to be the wicked, to push these wicked ideas to the world, okay? You know, we look at animals, you don't ever see a gorilla go, you know, I've just given up reproducing. No, man. They just want to keep building their empires, you know, amongst themselves in the jungle.
That's right. Deuteronomy 23:1. He that is wounded in the stones or hath his private member cut off shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Yeah, water. That's plain and simple, man.
That's
right. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house. Thy children like olive plants round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. That's how it starts, man. You have that fear.
That's right.
Because there's nothing these lot can do if the Lord is on our side. Whatever they do, it's still going to be for the honor and glory of the Most High and His elect, His Son and His elect. His Son, His elect. You know, you can't forget Yahushai. You know,
That's right.
you certainly can't. You don't get the Lord without Yahushai. Yahushai is that, you know, is the vine, and Yahweh is the husbandman.
That's right.
We're the branches. You know, if we don't abide in the vine, then we can't bear fruit. Now it says in verse 5, Yahweh shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of thy life. Yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. Here you go. That's it on that.
God. Deuteronomy chapter 28, in verse 11. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee.
Here you go.
Verse 12. The Lord shall open unto the Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season,
Yep.
and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Which is sounds like a myth to the world. Like,
Exactly.
to be more clear, when the hell can we do that now?
Certainly not. We have to go to the enemy for want of all things.
Yep.
For a job, for clothes, food. All right. And even if you do own your own business, you still have to get permission from the devil. All right. And again, the money just goes back to him.
Yeah, man. It's all for him, like everything you're doing for money is just a way to make him more rich, and you get less than pennies. Practically, when you look at when you analyze what money is, you basically do get that little scraps, and you worked your ass off for it. He's staying on top, doing his more devices. It's all part of his heaven, but our hell. Okay, and that's why he has to go through hell, man. That's why he has to get judged heavily, man. And other nations, they're going to get judged for 1,000 years too, man. You know what I'm saying? After 1,000 years of his captivity, we're going to burn them up. They're not going to be on earth anymore as a seed line. But other nations, they'll be there. They'll be in their lands, but they'll be paying tribute, and they'll have to follow the true law, statutes, and commandments, man.
So,
Shall I bring this? Or?
All right, Dan.
It's up to you.
Well, this is Haggai chapter 1, verse 6. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. That's why, Jake, has to have as many jobs as he can just to, to survive. That's what we're doing out here, surviving. And as soon as you get your pay, you go straight to, either maintaining your car, your bills, tax, all right? And then at the end of it, you barely have anything for yourself. And then, the cycle continues.
This is Leviticus 26:3. If you and just to mention about having children, based on that circumstance, when can you fit time to be like, I really want children? They make it very hard for you to even be fruitful and multiply, man.
That's right.
Which is it's a sad thing, because that's exactly what you want to do. You want to have a family, you want to have children. You want to teach your son stuff that you wish you learned when you were younger, which you wish you could have been taught. Things that you wish you knew, but you can't do it, man, because that's what he does, and that's what he's about.
That's right. Why do you think in Babylon the Great and in the Western society on a whole, India, they like to push that, how do I say it, cancel children, well, I don't want to say the word, I don't know if I should say the word
Abort mission.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I can't say cancel. Yeah, they like to, push that, especially on our people heavily, because, they want to keep us, downtrodden, destroyed, docile, all right? They don't want us to multiply, because, we're a righteous people, righteous spirit, inherently, and, it's a threat to E, a threat to him,
When you say cancel, I think about like cancel culture, like cancel.
Yeah,
like they did with Andrew Tate. But what was Andrew Tate saying? He was actually saying things that were scriptural understandings, man, about having a strong connection of brothers that you can actually build with. Like he obviously saying make money with and whatnot. People who are actually going to help you improve as a man, not just play video games all the fucking time, or having children. He talks about how it's important to have a family. It's important for a man to be the head. These are all scriptural things, man. These are but that's the thing. That's why they had to cut his thing off, because he was influencing young men to be exactly the opposite of the typical little femboy, soy boy, pussy old man.
Look, man, everything just goes back to the scriptures.
Yeah, man.
Everything. All right. No matter what you branch off into, man, the foundation is the scriptures, and there's no getting around that. Even these are the books and your top intellectual minds. They were influenced by the scriptures too.
Leviticus 26:3. If ye walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit, and your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and you shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. And vintage goes into wine, actually. That's what that word means, vintage. Let's see if the exact word there. Right. Batazayar, vintage. grape crop. Yeah, basically the grapes. That's where wine comes from. I'm sure you knew that, but in case you need to know that. Verse 6, and I will give peace in the land. And again, peace. We're not at peace right now. We don't have real safety. We're not even promised real safety. We're just being given an illusion of safety. It says, and I will give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. None shall make us have fear anymore. You're not going to be scared. It says, and I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall by you. You shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And that was the blessing upon us in that time. When the elect are taken up in the chariots, and they go and destroy, absolutely destroy Babylon the Great with the chariots, and whoever may be amongst, when there's World War III happening around the Middle East, whatever, any kind of destruction going down, that's going to be an example of us just destroying them, and there's nothing they can do about it, man. And that's going to be the beginning of our kingdom, and that's when they don't get a chance to even come against us, man. That's it. It's over for them. We'll hold it there. You ready, man?
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 13. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath.
And that's what we're right now. That's the opposite of what we are right now. If you go into the curses, there's a scripture that says the opposite, saying we're the tail, and the enemies who take us in captivity shall be, the head. Right? Roughly, I'm pretty summarizing it.
If that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy power, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them.
Right, this is Exodus 15 and 26. It says, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh that healeth thee. Right, the healing comes from Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. So, and if you think about what happened to Egypt, man. Egypt was a glorious kingdom, much power, man. Had good might as a nation. Had the whole philosophy going on, all types of weird, deformed, really just diseased doctrines. How about that, man? It's very weird stuff. Weird types of stuff that people actually don't even realize they're doing right now goes back to Egypt, man.
That's right.
And what happened to that land, man? What happened? How did we get out of that captivity? The Lord brought miracles and showed His power. And the Egypt that we're going to be, or our people are going to be delivered from, Babylon the Great. That deliverance is going to actually trump, the deliverance in the land of Egypt in the ancient times when Mashah brought us out. I'm trying to look for it. Is it Jeremiah 16? Is that you thinking of?
I had one in Isaiah 52, but
go ahead.
Right.
Go bring it.
Isaiah chapter 52, verse 1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall be no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. For thus saith the Lord, you have sold yourselves for naught, and you shall be redeemed without money. And that's what we need to do, repent, and return back to the Lord. Okay, garments being in a metaphorical sense. All right, that righteousness.
Yeah, that covering.
Covering.
Like when it goes into some scriptures, go into covering your shame. Goes into having a covering to not be, in shame. Having sin or whatever. Covering yourself. Having a covering. Yeah, man, covering. So I can't explain it any other way. I don't know if you have any other words, but that's basically it.
Yeah, just like how we uncover the shame and nakedness of Babylon the Great by exposing. Yeah, that's
Thank you. Perfect. Exposing the sin. That's what you're going to say, so I just intervened.
No, that's precisely that.
This is Jeremiah 16 and 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, that it shall no more be said, Yahweh liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, which is referring to Babylon the Great, spiritual Egypt, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, which shows you there's a distinction. And it says, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. There you go. So that's certainly what we should desire. to be taken out of you know of the lands that we're scattered to, man. Because right now we're scattered, but for what? We're scattered, for us to go through judgment and whatnot. And people have this idea of being around everywhere and integration and whatever. It's really, that's not how things go down. We're supposed to be, together, man, as a nation, keeping our own laws. Because what business would someone really want in your laws when it's not to do with them? And even if people, I'm not saying people didn't come up to us. Hey, man, when regarding Egypt, the Canaanites came onto Joshua, all right, whose name in Hebrew is Yahweh Shai as well. People came up to Yahweh Shai, the Canaanites, and they say that we're servants. And, where did you guys come? We came from a far land, to be servants. This is roughly, summarizing and paraphrasing. And this because they said because they heard the fame of what Yahweh did unto Egypt. So that's something to make mention of, man. They hear the fame of the true God, they will come, but of course they're not going to be seen as Israelites, because that doesn't make sense. They're not Israelites. They're not a descendant of the man Israel. So they don't get inheritance of the land or anything like that. I ain't got a precept, bro.
Okay. Deuteronomy 28, verse 14. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods, to serve them.
Right. No, we're not to make idols and to worship them, man. What does it say in Exodus 20? Let's get that. The book of Exodus chapter 20. I pressed 40. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Again, Egypt being synonymous with the house of bondage. It says, Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath, water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, right? So you can make some type of graven work as a form of, like you can do it for art's sake. I don't know, for decoration of some sort. Hey, there were things graven in the temple, decoration, like pomegranates and whatnot, right? I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was pomegranates. And then, but then it says in verse 5, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. That's the point. Not to make them as gods unto you, which makes no sense. You're creating something out of your own hands, and then you start to serve it and say it's your God, it's your judge, it's your ruler. How does that make any sense? So it says, for I, Yahweh thy power, am a jealous God, right? Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Through our reincarnation, through the sea line, he's judging us, man, through the generations. And we're right now going down the generation, and we're suffering the judgment for rejecting the true knowledge. That's all right.
That's right. I think we can end it there, because verse 15 goes to the...
Oh, is it verse 14? Oh, the water book.
Yeah.
I get this. I think I got this. This is Zechariah 1 and 6. But my words and my statutes, which I commanded my servants the prophets, did they not take hold of your fathers? And they returned and said, like as Yahweh of hosts thought to do unto us, according to our ways and according to our doings, so hath he dealt with us. When you read the scriptures and you see, our nation, we've been going through captivity and whatnot, man.
Right.
So you can, clearly our people are stiff-necked and rebellious, as the scripture says. So therefore, you can't expect all our people to hear this truth, man. So in other words, the curses will have to be upon us, man. Okay. And right now, we're being blessed with the truth, so we're overcoming relative curses, like not being astonished in our heart and whatnot. Hey, we don't call ourselves a byword, because we know who we are now. Of course, we're still in the land of our captivity, and we still are the tail. But that's going to be changed when Yahweh Shai returns. All right, all that's going to be changed, man. And again, they're not going to be mentioning. They're not going to call him the God the God of Israel who took us out of the land of Egypt. They're going to talk about the God that took us out of the land of the north, because the deliverance is going to be so much better. And you read what happened, man. You read the scriptures, surely, on that. I'm pretty sure most of Jake knows the story about Moses bringing us out of Egypt, parting the Red Sea with a pillar, of fire in the heavens, which is the chariot. Funny enough, I saw a video the other day of the chariot, a bunch of chariots in the heavens, and some brother recording it, and someone went, "Why does it look like fire?" Because when you zoom in, it's like an orange fire. It was sort of like moving around. Like it kind of has that little moving light,
Right.
looking like fire.
you know.
So that would be, yeah, man, a pillar of a cloud or a pillar of fire in the heavens directing us. That's a beautiful thing, man. But it's going to be even more beautiful than that, and that's something to look forward to, man. But other than what this video was edifying, we'll end off here. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and labor in this word and doctrine. Shalom.
Shalom.
Wath Lebabal.